This webinar is going to be on Christmas markets and festive events, and we have two speakers. We have Philip Sidney from Penshurst and Charles-Adrien de Merode from Schloss Merode. So I'm going to hand over to Charles-Adrien. And so what we'll do is they're going to speak for about 5 to 10 minutes each. And then if you have questions, please put them into the box, into the chat box, and we'll do a Q&A after they finish presenting. So I'll hand over to Charles-Adrien. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you. And hi, everybody. And thank you to inviting me to share our experience about organizing Christmas markets, a Christmas market in Germany, in Schloss Merode, which is located just at the three borders, so close to the Belgian and Dutch border, which has its importance. You will see why later, and close to the city of Cologne. So between Aachen and Cologne. So for those who know a bit Germany, it's a very populated area, which is obviously an advantage when you organize big public events like a Christmas market. So thank you, Martina, to help me out here with the presentation. I think we can pass to the second slide. Or do I do it myself? So how it all began. So I will speak about in 5 steps. My first step will be the background, then a bit more about the idea, the concept, the implementation, and first challenges we faced. And then the key points, what I mean with that is what I can give you out as advisors, or what we really learned about this organization of the Christmas market. So we can go to the slide background. And I will give you quickly a background of myself. So I am Charles-Adrien de Merode. I'm coordinator of the NextGen group in Belgium. I'm managing a family estate in Belgium, very close to Brussels, which is called the Castle of Rixensart. But I grew up in Schloss Merode, and growing up in Schloss Merode, I did my first work experiences in co-organizing this beautiful Christmas markets we organize now since 2009. So it's our 15th edition. And it's now managed entirely by my brother and my sister-in-law. But I was very active and co-founder of this thing at his beginning. The background is also a terrible fire that ruined or destroyed our castle in Germany in June 2000. And we had to restore it and reconstruct it. But in 2009, we faced a problem that we had spent all the insurance money that we had been given to restore it, and it was still not over. And so we had to find new solutions to be able to finance the restoration of this castle, who we celebrated this year. It's 850 years. It's in the family since its origin. And so we are very proud of this castle. And so we had no other thought than reconstruct it as quick as possible. That's how we decided to open it to big public events. And after a few tries, we end up with the decision of organizing a bigger Christmas market. Why do we do only bigger public events? It's because we live in this castle. Me not anymore, but now it's my parents and my brother, my older brother and his family who live there. And to be able to combine a place where you live with also the aspect of opening it to the public, we decided to open it in such a way and not do weddings or a lot of little events all the time. We decided to do a few big events and try to maintain this estate like this. We can pass to the third point, the idea. The idea came also in a family discussion, but my brother has a Bavarian wife, and in Bavaria, Christmas markets are very traditional and very beautiful. So she put us in contact with somebody over there who does Christmas markets in historical places. One of his Christmas markets is in Regensburg in Schloss Emmeran, which is the Schloss of the Ton und Taxis. And we decided to do this adventure with him. And so we brought along to the north of Germany all this Bavarian tradition, which is very, very nice. And also in our thoughts, we thought that December was actually a very nice time for doing such an event, not because the climate is very nice, like the summer where you with the summer heat and everything, but December had the advantage of being less occupied by other lots of events. In summer, when we do our content in summer, we are always in concurrence with, I don't know which little village or little town around who is doing a Maifest, a Schützenfest, whatever the different festivities. So there is always something to do. But in December, a part of Christmas markets, you don't have that much activities going on. So we were thinking of that also as being to have like a unique position. And our idea was to create a Christmas market which puts to honor all our Christmas traditions and to try to get away from all this kitsch and commercial things you can find in supermarkets and on TV or wherever. It's a lot has been Americanized. And when we have so many beautiful traditions. And so we thought, okay, we have to do something which goes around really our Christmas story, actually. We shouldn't be afraid or ashamed to tell this beautiful story to all the people who want to hear it. And so we decided really to put a focus on the idea of going back to the traditional Christmas market that our grandmother would have told us how she would have lived it when she was a girl. So that's a bit the idea that we had behind. So to be able to do such a market and to do it as traditional as we can, actually the most important ingredient is the exhibitors you will invite to participate at your Christmas market. This is a very big challenge at the beginning because getting those exhibitors is a very tough work and it's a long work. So don't think that a Christmas market organizes itself from October on and it lasts until end of December, January, and then it's over. No. You actually start working for your Christmas market, maybe for the first Christmas market 2 years beforehand or 1 year beforehand, to get the different exhibitors who will participate at your market. It's a market, so people come and buy stuff, buy their Christmas presents, want to see handmade stuff, and so the handcrafts. I think you say in English, handcraftship is like the most important, or the clue of the success of your market is really how you select them. So that was a big work we started. We tried to be very local too, to get really the handcrafts, les artisans, we say in French. Sorry for my English, huh? Or the Kunsthandwerker of the region, to really show also to the people the potential we have actually, and those are jobs that are going downwards. So to give those people an opportunity to have a market where they can sell their stuff is very important. So we really started working on that, trying to find lists to go to different markets, traditional markets normally, to get information, start to speak with the people and try to sell them the idea that our market will be the best, which was quite difficult because we had never done anything like that before. And so we convinced a few, and we said, okay, when we have 20 exhibitors, we will open our market. We got a bit more the first year, and we opened our market in December 2009 with, I think, I don't remember exactly, but I think something around 28 exhibitors. Now we have past the 100 exhibitors. Now we don't even look anymore for exhibitors. People come to us and ask us if they can participate, and we select them on the background. But so it's and I will say it further on also, an organization of such a Christmas market is really on the long term. You will have a lot of work in the first 3 years, 4 years, until your market is really established. And once it is established, you can be sure that opening your gate, you will have a significant quantity of visitors, and you will have your exhibitors who made your market famous. We decided to organize a market which has an entrance fee, which was also a very handicapping selling argument. And but we wanted to put in our market free entertainment. That means once you pay your entrance, once you're in the market, You can leave your children run around. They can go and see a theater of Kasperle Theater or go on the carousel or whatever they want to do. They won't be charged for that. And you can go and shop around or enjoy your Glühwein being relaxed because you know your kids will be happy to run around and find lots of entertainment. So our income strategy or base was based on two pillars. We get our money in those Christmas markets, not from our exhibitors, and I will tell you why it's very important. We didn't get it from the exhibitors. We get it from our entrance fee, and we sell all the beverages on our market. That were our income strategy, which we still have today. Why did we do that? Because we are doing it on a private place. A lot of Christmas markets are celebrated in the center of little towns, of cities, where actually your tax are paying the electricity the exhibitors will use, and exhibitors are charged very much money to be able to be on those public places. We have in Brussels a very big Christmas market, which is called Les Plaisirs d'Hiver, and the exhibitors pay fortunes to be able to be selling their stuff in this area. But what is the consequence of that? The consequence of that is that at the end of the day, you will have a lot of food and beverages sold, but the handcraft artisans, they don't have the money to pay those big fees to be able to participate at the Christmas market. And so they don't come to your market. That's so easy. So it's easy as that. So if you don't give them an attractive possibilities to be there, they end up. And that made the difference of our market compared to all the other markets. All the people at the beginning were saying, what, we have to pay to come to your market, but that's crazy. I'm just going to the other town and I will have a free Christmas market for nothing. But they didn't find the quality there. They didn't find the quality of our exhibitors who are not charged. So we do a difference between we have 4 different types of exhibitors. We have the exhibitors who sell artisanry that they did themselves during the entire year, and they pay a symbolic participation just to cover a little bit some of the electricity and things they use. Then we have those who sell stuff that other people did. I won't say made in China, but that happens sometimes in our globalization world. But normally, like, I don't know, a house that sells products from different people, they didn't do it themselves. They pay a little higher fee. And then you have those who pay the maximum fee are those who sell food. Because the guy who sells sausages, he will sell, I don't know, hundreds of sausages in a day in our market. But the guy, like you see in the picture, who did everything wooden works like that, very cheap, that he's worked the entire year, he will maybe sell 3 to 4 to 5, maybe 10 a day because it's very crowded. But he won't sell enough to be rentable. So we make differences, but actually all the money we get from the exhibitors, it's not enough. It's more symbolic in the global costs and incomes we make. The implementation and first challenges. So our first challenge is how we stand out from all the other Christmas markets in the region in Germany, because as I told you, every small village has a Christmas market of its own. I already answered that question, is because of the quality of our exhibitors, because of the entertainment which is proposed during our Christmas market, and also because of the beautiful scenery we create around the castle. I mean, we have a very easy geography in Merode, which is the castle is in the middle, and then you have a lake around it. And then around there, you have all the little wooden houses who face the castle. And so it creates an entire very nice atmosphere, which is obviously a strong advantage for us in Merode. Then the other challenge is how can we persuade the public to come to our market when a lot of Christmas markets are actually free. Our first, and that was the question which was much raised in the first years of our Christmas and our experiences. Today, it's not even a question anymore. No, today they even pay in advance. So they pre-register their tickets, so they don't have to queue at the beginning to be able to enter to our market. But at the beginning, it was not that. It was not the case. And so one of the biggest argument that everybody understands at the end is that we did it on a private owned place. We had to pay for all this infrastructure. It costs a fortune to bring electricity to all the different stands in a park where you normally don't have the infrastructure to host such a market. And then the biggest selling point was actually to say, yes, but the entire money you pay for the entrance is actually to cover the costs of this Christmas market, and then the rest goes into the restoration of the castle. And if you pay something to see something nice, and you know that part of it will help to restore an historic building, which is part of your historical patrimony in the region you live in, is actually then easier to accept. And the other argument which speaks in favor of doing a paying entrance is that you directly select your public. It sounds crude like this, but it's very important actually, because Christmas markets are in towns are usually the place where you get pickpockets, where you can have violence, even stronger things like we happened in Berlin a few years ago, which could be terrible. But in a like a private market where you have to pay to go inside, it's actually a very good point for your security system. So you make a natural selection of the guests who will participate to your Christmas markets. It's an argument, not the biggest one, but it has to be taken into consideration. How to get known quickly. Our communication strategy was also very tough because we were not unknown in 2009, and we had to be very quickly. We wanted to be very quickly establish ourselves in one of the biggest markets in the region, and so we used obviously the social media. In 2009, it wasn't as developed as it is today. Facebook was still there, the most strong one. But we thought directly we have to invest in all kinds of media, not just do social media, but also go into classical media, also put some posters everywhere we could, also speak on radio, go to TV if we could. And then a stupid thing, but which worked very well, is to send students distributing flyers on other markets around to speak about ours. And then what was, I think, a highlight of a strategy, which we never speak about because it sounds so stupid and discreet, but today makes a difference between us and other markets in the region, is that we went to the biggest markets around Merode, where buses are coming with guests, buses with tourists are coming to go there to see the Christmas market of Aachen, for example, which is very famous and a very old one. And so we get there, we took notes of all the bus companies who came to Aachen and wrote to them. We wrote to all of them saying, you know what, you come from Belgium, you come from Holland, you come from Germany, you come from England, you come from wherever, and you go to Aachen to see the Christmas market. You know that you can, on your way to Aachen, stop at a beautiful hidden secret, a Christmas market which is just starting, like a boutique market. And it's on your way. You can have a little stop by us and then go further on. And that's how we started writing to them. And at the first year, we had a few buses. Then in the second year, we had a bit more. And now we even had to really think about the traffic inside our little village to see how we can drive the lots of buses who are coming, and how can we park them without being a problem for all the whole traffic in the area. And that was really good because all these touristic bus organizations don't only come from foreign countries, they also come from Germany. And they bring, for example, a bus full of seniors who are able to come also on weekdays. So before we opened only weekends, because we thought, okay, the family will come, etc. And in the week they work, people work, etc. But now we even open on the Monday. We open the entire week now. We started opening Friday, Saturday, Sunday during the 4 weekends of the Advent before Christmas. And now we are opening We started last week on Wednesday, and we are open until the 22nd of December. And how could we do that? Because we had guests who were coming in bus in the week because they didn't want to be in the crowd of the weekend. And those are people of a certain age or buses of children and stuff like that. And so that was a very interesting communication we did, which helped us, which seems to be like totally insignificant, sorry, but actually enabled us to open our Christmas market a bit brighter. And then, yes, a last point I wanted to talk about is all the administration and bureaucratical burden and slowness that the administration imposes us, and that's like obstacles which are very strong. It's in 2009 when we started, it was not that strong, but then when the market started to grow and grow and grow and become bigger and more known, then we started to have a lot of bigger problems. We had to start thinking with the community how we manage the traffic. The administration is always complicated, and that I think is something we all face in Europe, is a heavy administration who slows down all our dynamics and all our capacities to grow. But I can go deep on that subject if you ask me a question, but that is something you have to have in mind once you organize bigger public events. And I think I'm arrived to my last slide, no? Yes, don't compromise with quality of exhibitors. It's really the key to a nice market. The quality also of the entertainment. Don't be afraid to speak about the real Christmas. We speak about about Jesus, the angels, God, the Virgin Maria, everything we talk about. Santa Lucia, Santa Nicolaus, we speak about the Holy Nicholas and not Papa Noel. And people like it, actually. They like to find back the tradition. They have heard about it, but they don't see it anymore. So it's very interesting that how people go up with so big eyes and say, you know what? This message, I hadn't heard it in a long time, and it's beautiful. It's all about peace, love, giving yourself. It's actually we have a beautiful Christmas tradition, and we have to share it with all the world. The kind of event is gaining in a long. Yes, and a big aspect here is that this kind of event is growing actually on the long term. The first years are very difficult, but once you pass the 3-4 first years, boom, it gets very easy, and then it gets also fruitful. And then yes, some of the administrative things I already talked about it. Thomas, am I on time? Is it good? Haven't I spoken too much?
No. You've spoken to a great deal of detail, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Charles-Adrien. There's a couple of questions, but I might wait until after Philip's spoken, and then we can go through questions. So I'm going to hand over to Philip Sidney.
Thanks very much, Thomas. Let me just quickly share my screen. Right, can you all see and hear?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I apologize. I tend to speak, and I know time's a factor, so I'll try and rattle through quite quickly. If I'm going too quickly, then please say. Good evening, everyone. Thanks very much for tuning in, and thank you, Charles-Adrien, for a really interesting expose into Christmas markets. We're very much on the festive events side of things. We don't have a Christmas market per se at Penshurst Place, so sorry to disappoint you if that's what you're expecting. We don't have much of a glue-fine thing at Penshurst, but we do quite a lot of Christmas stuff. And so I'm going to spend the next 5 or 10 minutes talking about what we do, some things we've tried, what's worked, and also what hasn't worked over the past few years. A bit about Penshurst Place itself before we start. It's in Kent, in the southeast of England. It was first built in 1341 and has been in my family for 470 years, since it was given to my forebear Sir William Sidney in 1552. The house and the gardens have been open to the public since 1947. Our visitor season runs from April to October, ending with Halloween events before we shut our doors and start preparing for Christmas. I mention our Halloween events because seasonal events like Easter and Halloween are really important for us. Typically, they coincide with school holidays, meaning that local families are always looking for something to do, whether it's grandparents wanting to treat their grandchildren or parents just trying to get their children out of the house. Christmas is a seasonal event, but with bells on. Not only is it the school holidays, but families are keen to get together, make memories, and get hold of something special to give to their loved ones. That leads us to lesson number one. Really, I know Charles-Adrien has mentioned it, but just to underline that Christmas is a special. It's that you may however many events you put on in your historic house. Christmas is a special one in that people's expectations are high. It's commercially important, yes, but you want to make sure you do it in a way that's appropriate for Christmas, and it's going to go down well. I'm not sure what it's like in Europe, but certainly in the UK, every year, the newspapers will have a story about some sort of Christmas experience where where they try and cash in on Christmas and pay a lot of money for experiences like this that aren't very good. And so there's always I'd be keen to hear any European examples, but what you don't want is to end up in the newspaper with angry parents and screaming children who have just seen a dog with antlers tied to it and as a sort of attempt to do a reindeer, because that's not great. People, in the age of social media and online reviews, they will not be slow to let you know if you get it wrong. There's also competition. No, there's a huge appetite for Christmas events and a lot of events out there. No, we live in quite a densely populated area of England in the southeast, and so there are lots of people, with all these events are from places that are within 10 minutes drive of Penshurst Place. And so there's a lot going on at Christmas. So you need to make sure that you do something that stands out. Ideally something something that you want to do and something that only you can do, really. So what we do at Penshurst, there are two approaches. The first one is doing what we typically do. We have but make it Christmas. And so we on the left here we redecorate our gift shop. And have late night shopping evenings. This photograph on the left was from this year on the 21st of November. We sell wreaths and Christmas trees in our plant centre. We have a special Christmas menu at the Porcupine Pantry Cafe with those delightful elves and some special Christmas hot chocolate. And we have a special Christmas farmers market as well. But more than that, we like to put on special events as well as just sort of doing Christmas versions of things. And over the past 12 years, we've set out to put on events in the house, in the main house, that will give families a special Christmas experience, including meeting Father Christmas himself. From 2012 to 2018, we had a Father Christmas's grotto, where children and their parents would take it in turns to go and see Father Christmas. They'd tell him what they wanted in their Christmas stocking and then be given a small present. This was very successful. The income from the first year was £3,000 and then rose to about 6 times that in the next 5 years. But ultimately, it became too difficult to manage without putting too much stress on the team, and it's important to make sure, as Charles-Adrien mentioned, the administrative burden. It's all very well to cash in, but frankly, if it's taking a toll on the team, if the team aren't happy, then you can't. It's not sustainable. With the grotto in particular, the problem was one that will be familiar to any management consultants on the call. If there's only one Father Christmas, then you have a bottleneck and you're trying to shove as many children through the grotto as possible. You can't multiply the number of Father Christmases without risking lots of children who are suddenly disenchanted and lots of parents who are demanding explanations or having explanations demanded of them and then demanding explanations from you and maybe a refund. And so we retired the grotto, and instead we have a sort of pantomime performance. We have a sort of Christmas storytelling in our Barons Hall that usually features some kind of there's a crisis at the North Pole, and Father and Mother Christmas save the day, and then the children can all go and have a photograph taken with Father Christmas and get their present. And it means that we can bring in we can bring in lots more people and expose them to Father Christmas, as it were. Much more. It's much more efficient. And ultimately a bit more fun. The show itself is 25 minutes long. We have 5 performances a day, with a maximum of 80 guests per performance. We do the performances on weekends in December and the last week or so before Christmas. This year, the 18th to the 23rd of December. We also do quiet sessions so that children with disabilities or special educational needs can enjoy the performance in a more relaxed environment. And I think it's appreciated that if you do make some provision for make performances more accessible, I think that goes down well. Here is the Barons Hall at Penshurst Place, set up for the panto. You will notice the magic book up at the top, which is one of the props for the performance. And you will see from all this decoration that it all takes quite a lot of organisation. I agree wholeheartedly with Charles-Adrien that administration is always complicated. If you logged into this event planning to put on something for Christmas this year, then I'm afraid I would strongly advise leaving it till next year. We put our dates in the diary about 9 months in advance and start thinking operationally about 3 or 4 months before the Christmas trees go up. This year, the online ticketing for the pantomime performance opened at the end of September, and about half the tickets were sold before the end of November. It does feel very strange thinking about Christmas so early, but that's the way it is. I think as a group, I think as all the people on this call will know that we're lucky enough to know our houses from the inside out, because that's where we live, it's where we've grown up, and so which is great. But it is important to think maybe through the eyes of visitors, who will after all be guests in your house, about the customer journey. For example, the Barons Hall, as you see, has it's quite rare for a 14th century building, and that has lots of windows. You won't be surprised to learn very, very cold. And whereas as a family we either don't mind or say, oh, just put a jumper on. That's not really, you can't. If you're an exhausted mother and a sort of 5-year-old, you need to they may not be so tolerant. Also, and so it's worth setting expectations before people show up. We always warn people to wrap up warm, and emphasize to them that the Barons Hall is very cold. But the other positive of seeing your place through your visitor's eyes is to see how you can sort of transform your house or your garden into something magic for Christmas. How you can have some fun and create a sort of little world for people to escape into. I'll take you a little way through the Penshurst experience. You start off the Lime Walk. You to walk up to the house. Have inflatable candy canes, you'll have noticed, and on the right hand side that's a beach ball, which we've made up to look like a Christmas tree ornament. Then you go through the service corridor, which is rigged up with Christmas trees and lights, into the screens passage, and then into the hall itself with its little snowmen, which we usually have suits of armor on display, but they turn into snowmen on the for Christmas, as if by magic. Our team are we're very lucky in having a team who are very creative and have much enjoy kitting the snowmen out. I think some of these items of clothing are theirs, and so that they have a lot of fun with it every year. They put together, wrap up lots of presents, beg, borrow, and steal big glass jars for candles, and of course lots of stockings on the tables. And then after you've toured all these bits and bobs, then you're ready to sit down in front of Father Christmas's chair for the storytelling. And so that's it really. I hope this has been a sort of helpful talk and giving you some ideas for what you might like to do for Christmas events. And best of luck with with putting something on, whatever it is and wherever you are. And good luck with giving everything everything special, the special Xmas factor. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much, Philip. That's excellent. And thank you. Yeah, thank you to both of you for speaking on perhaps very different ways of doing Christmas events, but also a shared thing of getting the community involved, but also sharing heritage and yeah, creating a festive spirit through your house. There were a couple of questions that came through. Perhaps the first, a couple were, so I'm going to start with the ones that were sent publicly. What would you, so roughly, I think, Philip, you answered this, but Charles-Adrien, how many people would visit the Christmas market, say per day or overall?
Yes, sorry, I didn't go that much into those details because I was very much involved in 2009, between 2009 and 2013. But I still, it's a family business, so I still am in the secret. So we gradually opened. So we knew when we started that we needed around 18,000 visitors to be break even in our first editions. And so we grow. The first year we did, if my memory is right, around 14,000 visitors. The next year we passed to we got to the 18, so we were break even, but we still had a loss of the first year to cover. In our third year, we started to overpass the 18,000 visitors and were able to compensate our first year. And up from the fourth year on, we hit the I don't know how you say that, but we started really growing, and so we did bigger steps. We went from I think it was 22 to 40,000, and then we started growing, and now we are nearly touching the line of 100,000 visitors on this period of Christmas. It depends on the year. I know we are around 80,000 last year, but then the year before we were even better. And we are trying this year to pass the cap of 100,000 visitors. We hope we can make it. I think we have more days, so it's very probable that we manage that. We have an entrance fee. I read this question too. I think it was in the same question, and people were asking what are the fees you are asking. We ask. It depends on the days, because we don't want to crowd everybody on the weekend. We know that the weekends we will have days where we have 10,000 people at the same moment on the park area. We don't open the castle anymore, as you do, Philip. We decided to close it because it was too many people entering and a bit of, we didn't have a special animation inside of the castle, and so we decided not to open it anymore. We can go in the courtyard. You can see through the windows, but you can't go inside. And so on weekdays we have an average of €4 entrance. Yes, on the weekdays, and then it goes crescendo until €12 on average, because you have unable people spend less, students pay less, and so you have different prices. But we go between €4 and €13 depending the day and if you're an adult or whatever. So but you can see all that on the website. If you go on Schloss Merode, Romantischer Weihnachtsmarkt, Schloss Merode, you will have and you go and check in, you will have all the prices.
Perfect.
So sorry, that was another question, but I read it in the same thing. I think it was the same person who asked that.
I guess a question for both of you: how do you deal with security and or vandalism at the worst case scenario? But do you have to have a lot of security, or how do you monitor people? I might come to Philip first.
Sure. We don't have that much security per se. Obviously, we staff events. We have and so everyone enters through our visitor entrance, which is monitored. that's the useful thing about living in a historic house is there are quite high and thick walls. So we do for weddings and events we'll have someone there as security, but we typically it's staffed for let me think through staffing. I mean we probably have 3 or 4 people actually running the event, bringing people in, taking people out, but we don't, because it's mostly parents. It's because it's all parents and children. None of them are that sort of they don't tend to get that rowdy. So so we don't tend to use private security. No, if there was a drama, we have a team in the office anyway who'd be able to attend.
Great. And Charles-Adrien?
We have security, but also in a very reasonable amount. The more you grow with public, the more you have to have a bit of security. So we have at the main entrance in total 4 people. They come in a staff of 6, and 2 are like walking on. But again, we don't let people inside the castle.
Okay.
On this picture, you see. They are in the inner courtyard, if you want, but they can't enter anymore. So that's a security less to have, actually. And then we have a night guard nights when we switch off the market, because some exhibitors leave their stuff in the little wooden houses, and they could be vandalized, and it never happened, but the risk is there, and you can enter the park easily. So we have a security guard who goes around with the dog, and that's actually the expensive factor. The security guard at night is quite more expensive than the day security, but I mean it's reasonable.
Perfect. And then in terms of, obviously it will differ on different for different countries, but do you use a local platform to sell your tickets? Are you using one of the big ones like Eventbrite, or something smaller like Ticket Tailor?
Yeah, we're Ticket Tailor, I believe. We're sort of, we're Book It Be, who are a local firm. But we don't. It's not. We don't have that much. We don't have a very complex system, so it's fairly kind of off the shelf.
Okay.
Ticket Tailor is also very good. And I'm sure we might do something. We just installed a new EPOS system, so we may do something different with that. But yes, it's so yeah, pretty much off the shelf, very simple stuff.
Cool. And Charles-Adrien,
Yeah.
You mentioned 4 types of exhibitors. I got a question from someone saying, how do you differentiate? You split the exhibitors into 4 categories, right?
Yeah, sorry, I said 3 when I talked, but I have a 4th one. So we have, sorry again for my English. Huh? You have artisans. I don't know if you say that, craftsmanship. Yeah. You tell it in English, I think. So those are the first category. They have a very cheap loyer fee to pay per day. And I think it's around 15 euros. It used to be 10. I think maybe it's a bit more today. I'm not sure, but it was low. Then we had 50 euros, the guys who have a stand, sell, but they are not the producers of the product. There are a lot of exhibitors buy different stuff around and then sell them, but didn't produce them. So we differentiate there the exhibitors. That's our second kind of exhibitors. And then we have the food, which he pays. He started paying, I think we were at 70. Now we are at 120 or even more. I think we are even at 150 per day as a fee, because they use much more energy and stuff like that to about some do it with fire, but even because they sell. They sell a lot. Huh? Everybody who goes to a market will eat a sausage, the bockwurst, and drink a glühwein. And then we have the 4th category, and that's the smallest one, but it's a very interesting one. It's the exhibitors, the craftsmanship, who actually do their stuff on site. I mean, how do you call a guy who do swords and bang them, an iron smith?
Ironmonger.
an ironmonger or ironsmith, you don't say like this, or something like
Yes,
that.
Ironsmith,
Yeah.
yeah.
This guy, for example, that's an attraction per se. So actually we pay him to be there.
Okay.
So we have like 5 like these guys. We have an old woman who do wool, and she makes her own wool volume. I don't know how you say that in English, but I mean like textile things like that. She made it with hairs of animals and stuff like that, and do it. And she invites the people, the kids, to participate. And then we have the pottery guy. He does the same, and so it's an attraction for kids. Kids love to sit there. They see, they can grab, they can do. And so those guys, there are 5 or 6 of those. Then we even pay them. But it's a very, very big advantage on our market because people love to see and love to participate and put their finger in and see how it works. So
Brilliant.
that's our 4th category.
That's brilliant. Thank you for clearing that up. The next question from Martino. Yeah, sorry, we covered that. Charles asks, what are in terms of administrative barriers, what do you both face as administrative barriers? Like, what are the biggest things to overcome?
Everything is paperwork. You lose so much time in paperwork. I mean, for everything we need a permission. I mean, it's normal. You can understand it from the food, the beverage, the test, everything. The music you play, you need a certain permit. So you have to think about all that, because when you're in the fire of your organization, and then you say, oh, we need Christmas music, and then you put on Christmas music, and then suddenly you have the Sabam in Belgium or the GEMA in Germany who comes and say, you didn't pay your rights to play that music out, and you didn't even think of that. And then you have a fine of several thousand euros because you put play on a stupid Spotify music that you put all around because there was a moment where you needed some music without even thinking about it. All those administrative burdens are, I think you have to plan in advance. Then you have the classical one, which is you have to ask an authority, you have the permit to be able to do such a market. That is controlled to several stages. It takes months. So we introduce our permit to be able to do our market before summer, because it will be tested by the police, by the firemen, by the municipality. The traffic will be analyzed, and all that is when it's every year is the same. And then the Germans are, I think, on the top level of administrative heaviness. We had to partly, you know why partly we stopped the castle now, and even the interior yard we were about not to open it, because they said, yes, you need an exit. So if you see the picture you have on the UI, the one I see there, you have a bridge to come into the interior yard. And this bridge is actually the only entrance to the interior yard. And so they said, no, you are obliged to do to create another exit. They were like, come on, how do you want? We won't build a new bridge, guys. Are you out of your minds, or what is happening? No, we will separate the bridge for the people who are entering, the people who go out. We'll try to find, and then there came the moment where I said, no, you have to do it. And so we decided to take out all the little houses you see in the interior yard. Now, if you come this year, you will see it's empty. I mean, empty. We put some trees, Christmas trees. We put the crèche, the crèche where you have the little baby Jesus and stuff. We put all that in the but we don't have any selling activity anymore in the interior because of that. So there's a lot of things where you say to myself, oh my God, why is the administration going so deep into the details, which makes your life pretty hard. And the other one is the parking and the traffic situation. I think I read the question, but I'm sorry, Thomas. Maybe it's
yeah, no. Feel free to talk because I was going to come on to that in a second.
The traffic is obviously a big issue, but that's normal. I mean, when you do an event and you live in a little village where you have 700 inhabitants, and then suddenly you have markets where in the weekend you can have 25,000 people or 30,000 people showing up around the same times, more or less. It can be, it has to be organized. That is clear. So we had to do parking spots. So we have agricultural land around the castle, and some of it changed. Now you don't plant potatoes anymore than all those fields, but we had to stabilize them a bit. We didn't put asphalt or whatever on it, so it can still be recuperated as agricultural land, but we did it harder, and that was also very, very heavy money issues, because I mean, to survive and to grow bigger, we had to do it. But the administration was also very, very hard on that one, and trying to impose our things that were not really necessary. We had to find solutions which were cheaper, but then we had to go to the very expensive one to do parking spots. And now we have parking spots, which I think we can have we can welcome 6,000 or even more. I think we can be up to 8,000 visitors now without parking problem. The rest can still park on the street or whatever. And we calculate always that on such an event, you have people are coming not alone in a car, so you have to divide it by 2.6, 2.7 people per car. So yes, we have about I don't know, thousands of parking spots, but we lost those agricultural fields to be able to build them. But here again, Merode was quite easy because the agricultural land was quite close to the entrance of the park, and so it's easier. There are other estates where your agricultural lands are far away, so it's more difficult. So that was an easy factor for us.
Fantastic. And Philip, how do you deal with your parking and or administrative nightmares?
I'm sort of, first a confession. It's not our ticket website is not Book It Be, it's Live It, which I'll put in the chat as a. So I think we've swung from provider to provider quite a lot in the past years. Parking, because we're very lucky in that because we're open to the public, we have parking available, just a sort of visitor car park that we use all year round. It can be a little challenging in the winter if it's raining, and so some vehicles have been known to get stuck. So we have a tractor on hand. Luckily, we have local farmers who are very happy to drag people, to rescue people from the mud. Administrative burden. I think we have less for the Christmas events in particular. We have less challenges than Charles-Adrien in terms of the permits and regulation. I mean, we get that in spades in other areas, and I know everyone on this call will know about the sort of the amount of planning and regulations and sort of and restrictions that seem to pop up whenever you try and do literally anything in a historic house context. Most for us, it's a lot of it is just getting the systems in place, prepare and preparing for accidents, and so it's a good problem to have. One of the Grotto years, the ticketing system crashed because there were so many people waiting to jump on and order their Grotto ticket. Similarly, staffing events, making sure you have enough people on the ground to cover every eventuality. But again, that's partly just making sure you have preparation in place and the capacity to be flexible. We're quite a small team, but everyone's happy to drop everything and go and help if there's a challenge. But again, it's we're lucky in having that infrastructure in place, with a year-round business.
Well, so that brings me onto the next question, I guess, which is how much of the staffing stuff is it easy enough to find seasonal staff, and also what proportion is seasonal staff and what proportion is all year round people? I'll come to Philip, you first.
Seasonal staff, it's in the Christmas holidays, it's usually pretty easy because we employ quite a lot of students, either college students or people who are finishing high school, who are usually very good. As I say, we live in a densely populated area, and so that's helpful. I think it's much more difficult hiring, for example, catering staff. And I think the government, well, speaking of regulation, the government at the moment is going to make it much more difficult and expensive to employ people. So watch this space. We typically we have about 25 salaried staff, and the sort of the events and visitors team are you know, on the front line, and we'll be sort of, so it'll be a mixture of typically salaried staff coordinating, and then with backfill of seasonal staff.
Perfect. And Charles-Adrien, presumably because it's your big event for the year, is everyone seasonal help, or are some people working throughout the entire year to set stuff up?
No, it's mainly seasonal work. So we have obviously a little staff during the entire year with helping my brother out in Germany. We work with a partner on this Christmas market, so we are not alone. Since the beginning, we work with this guy in Bavaria who did Christmas markets in Bavaria. So that was he came. He also has a few employees who were working full time. But we started with 20 employees, seasonal employees on the site, because we sell all the beverages. So we ourselves, we occupy 4 or 5 selling points in the market. And now I met my brother last week when I came to the inauguration of the market, and he told me that the day before he had a meeting with all the crew who will work for the Christmas market, and there were 90 people. They don't work all together. It's already obviously one works on Monday, the other on Sundays or whatever. But it's 90 seasonal workers who come, and we give jobs to 90 people during this period of the year.
That's fantastic. The last question that I have so far, unless anybody has any, this is your last call for questions. Is, do you blend any authentic Christmas traditions from family history, which are characteristic, i.e. recipes or decorations? So things like when they, I suppose this is more, Philip, when they see that Christmas tree that you showed us, is that your family Christmas tree, or do you have a separate family, a tree that has the family decorations on it, that kind of thing? How much do you have to share?
We don't share at all, I'm afraid. I think partly because the Baron's Hall, as I've mentioned, is extremely cold, and so I'd have even more chilblains than I do if we actually celebrated family Christmas in the Baron's Hall. We're quite lucky in that the house is quite well divided between the bits that in the 19th century were made a bit more comfortable and the bits that are a bit older. And so there's not there's a few bits and bobs on the snowman, but mostly it's sort of we tend to be quite protective of Christmas as a family, because it's the one bank holiday we're not open, and so we don't do that much overlap with the public Christmas, I'm afraid. Although there's my mother's recipe for Penshurst apple cake is sold in the cafe, so that's we do a bit of that.
Great. Charles-Adrien? I suppose, yeah.
Yes, sorry, I think I got the question. So it's like to see some tradition that we involve in our market. I know that when you organize such a market, you are very happy when the 22 or the 20 or the 30, it depends when Christmas is falling, comes, because you put that away and then you don't want to hear about Christmas anymore, nearly. So it's true that we try to separate a bit the family thing from the market itself, from this. But yes, for example, we change all the names of the different glühweins we serve. We give them names of the we say the Prinzentrunk for the glühwein, and we'll try to make it a bit historical and try to add some family tradition in there. And then we invented, I have to admit, it was never a tradition in my house, but I thought in the first years when we did hot chocolate, and the hot chocolate was selling itself very purely. I mean, the kids were taking it, but then, and so I just thought, okay, what you want, we will mix it with a shot of Grand Marnier, which is like an orangey liquor. And then I said, that's the old house tradition, how we drink hot chocolate ages. And sadly, we put that on the thing, we put it a bit in front, and boom, it started to be sold much more, because everybody was thinking, oh, I'm drinking the the hot chocolate the way the old princess did in former times. So yeah, we use it a bit as a marketing, but that's it. We don't do it that much actually.
That is exactly what I would do. It's really, really good marketing. So yeah, there don't seem to be any more questions. So what I would say is thank you so much to
Charles, I think we've got one more from Martina.
Oh, sorry, I just missed that. Sorry. Did I?
So no, which is very much along the lines of what we were what Charles-Adrien was talking about, balancing the authenticity and commerciality. I'd say, I think you can be as authentic as you like, but if you're not, if you can't keep the roof on, then you're at risk of becoming a bit too authentic. I think we sort of our approach has always been that we're a family home that people happen to visit rather than a visitor attraction that we happen to live above. My father always says we don't want to be Euro Sydney. And so it's a fun line to tread, but I think it has to be what you feel comfortable with, and and there's a practical aspect in that you want to if you want to continue to live there, then you need to make sure that you can keep the roof on. But I think I think it differs by generations. I think there'll be some who I think these things change over centuries, and so it's very much a gut feel, I think, balanced with the balance sheet. Well, we just see what Charles-Adrien thinks.
No, I sorry, I totally accept. I agree with you, Philip. It's exactly. So I think everybody should see where they put the measure. I don't think it's always good to too much mix it for commercial reasons. I think if it gives a detail which gives it some panache, then it's great to do it, but don't exaggerate, because people are quickly also feeling a bit doubtful, no, saying that's maybe a bit too much. So we try to keep it really low profile in some jokey way, but yeah, that's it.
Brilliant. Thank you to both of you, to Philip and to Charles-Adrien, and thank you to the European Historic Houses Office for facilitating us having this webinar. Our next webinar will be in March. We do them on the first Tuesdays of the month, so I'll just find I had it written in my diary and then I forgot to check it before I started the webinar. So it'll actually be it's going to be Shrove Tuesday if anybody celebrates, or Pancake Tuesday. And so we will be announcing the topic very shortly. So thank you very much everyone for coming. And yeah, thank you. Have a great Christmas and good Christmas markets if you already have them. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Merry Christmas.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you all. Bye-bye.